Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I deploy our total project to our web server and everything worked perfectly, right? So here we already checked it. Everything worked great in here. So right now I'm going to go back to our localhost. So that is our localhost project. It's the same project. So now friend, in this video I want to discuss about how can use that multi-language. So for using that multiple language in your e-commerce project, they have the different type of way you can actually use. You can manage it from to the backend. So into the backend area, you have to create one field for the English version, and also you have to create another field for the Hindi version if you use that as a Hindi. Okay, so you can actually manage that multiple languages from your backend. So I have another course for this where I have discussed about that things with you in Laravel. How can support multi-language in e-commerce project? If you go to Easy Learning official site, I have another course. So if you go there, so there is actually another course as a Laravel 8. So that is not any React project, but I have created that things with the using Laravel, and that is one of the total e-commerce project. Okay, so that is also one of the total e-commerce project. Here I have actually shared that how can manage multi-language from to the backend. So now in this course I want to use some of the very easy way. Okay, so they have another easy way to support multi-language with using that Google Translate. So with this Google Translate, we can actually use the very different language in here. So Google Translate nowadays is very popular and it's very interactive. So now I want to with the Google Translate, I want to use that multi-language in here. I show you, then everything will be more clear. So as I told you, they have so many options. So you can, if you want to manage it from to the backend. So into the backend here, we have to create another field name as English, another field we have to create it for the Hindi. But right now, if you use that as a Google Translate, so how can use it? I show you. So first of all, what exactly you have to do? First of all, you have to actually get that one of the Google Translate API. So they have one of the free API. I want to use it. So I will also share this link with you. If you go, I have already take it. Like you can see, there is one of the script as a for the Google Translate. So that is one of the API I want to use it. So I simply copy it, and now in our project, into this project right now, I close everything. Okay, I close it and close it. So now if you go to your public, into the public, they have the index HTML, right? So into the index HTML, here I want to load it. That means after this dev, okay, after this dev, first of all I want to load our this script. So that is one of the API. I simply loaded this API in here. And also now we have to configure it. Now I want to configure, like I take one of the script. Okay, that will be the script. So I simply take one of the script and I close this script. So into this script area, first of all, you have to load on the function. I load that function. Okay, I load one of the function and I just name it as a Google Translate element. So Google and then translate. Google Translate, you can see there's Google Translate element integer. So this type of one of the function, I simply created it in here. So that is our function name. Okay, and after that function, after this function, first of all I'm going to take one of the variable as a var. I name it as a config. Okay, config. So I want to configure it. When I run it, everything will be very clear. It's very interactive. How much easily we actually completed that multi-language portion I show you with using that API. So that is our var and then config. I take one of the variable as a config, and now I want to add some of the elements. First of all I name it as a page. Okay, page language. So, and page language is actually default one. I want to do for the first time our default Google Translate will be as a English. Okay, so now I want to use it as a English. So I make it as a English. So that is English. Okay, perfect. And then I want to use it included which type of language you want to include. You can include that things in here. Okay, that means all that your included page name. So now I want to use that only two language. One will be as a Hindi, another will be as a English. So I used another element as include. Okay, included and then languages. So include languages. So into this include languages, now I want to included first of all as English, and also I want to include another one as Hindi. So here if you want to use that France, Spanish, you can also use multiple language in here. So right now for education purpose, I only use that as English, and then Hindi for the Hindi, that is a Hindi. Okay, that is a high. Perfect. So I loaded both of these. So now we have to pass it with another element as a layout. So I make it as a layout. Okay, so that is a layout element. So with this layout element here, I want to first of all pass that as a Google. Okay, Google, and then translate. Google Translate, and the translate element. Okay, translate element, and then here we have to pass another property as a inline layout. I want to use it as a inline. Okay, inline, and then the layout. Okay, inline layout, and then the sample. Okay, sample. So I simply loaded this. That is our layout, the Google translate element, inline layout, and then sample. Okay, perfect. And after this we have to pass it. So I take another variable as a var. Okay, var, and with this var I name it as a language option ID. So I make it as options. Okay, options ID. So language option ID, with this we have to actually visible it in our page. So now I'm going to pass one of the ID name, whatever the name actually you choose. So right now I name it as Google underscore translate underscore element. Okay, element. So I name this as a Google translate elements, and now here I want to pass it with this new, and then our Google. Okay, Google. So that is very by default one of the code where we have to add. That is a Google, and then the translate. That is a Google, and the translate, and then translate elements. So that is a translate elements, and into this translate elements here we have to pass both of these. We have to pass this config. So I simply pass out this config variable. Okay, here I pass that config variable, and also there is another one as a language option ID. So that will be actually our ID. So I take it with this variable. So now here from to this position I pass it. Okay, I pass both of these from here. Great. So here there should be another semicolon. So that's all. Okay, so that's all we have to do for a pass on of the ID. So it should automatically now get our default page will be as English, and also it's included our language as English and the Hindi. So now we have to show it with our this ID as a Google Translate elements. So now I'm going to show it in our whatever the place you want to actually display, like here I want to actually display. So that is in our footer. I want to go to our, that is in our common, right? So into this common, if you go to that footer desktop, so that is our footer desktop. Into the footer desktop, you can see there is a download apps. Here they have some of the bracket. After that I name it as a change your language. So here I want to take one of the dev. Okay, I take one of the dev. So into this dev position I want to pass one of the ID. So our ID will be which one? Our ID will be here. I pass that name as our language option ID as a Google Translate ID. That is a Google Translate element. I copy it, and now here that will be our ID. Okay, and then there is our ended dev. Perfect. So better I want to put another bracket in here. So after that text, it should be display in particular that position. How much easily we do that work I show you. Now click as a save all, and now if you go to your site, now click as a refresh. So our site is now successfully loaded. Everything worked perfectly. Okay, everything worked perfectly. Feature product. You can see now there is an option for the change your language. So now there is an option as a select language. By default, you can see by default it's display our English language. So now if you click it, yes, you can see it's now showing as a Hindi. So that is our select language option as a Hindi. So now I select it as a Hindi. Yes, you can see our total site is now updated. All the text is now automatically updated. Now it's become Hindi. Okay, so you can see there's a menu, sub menu here that is also is updated, and there is also updated card is option is updated, this name is updated, sub name is updated, everything is updated. Okay, how much easily we did that work. I hope you like it very much. And also there is an option for the English rather than the Hindi. So if you select it as a English, yes, you can see it's now become changed, and now it's become as a English. Okay, so with one of the API, that means the Google one of the translate API. So with this translate API here, you have to load this, you have to add this script, and then It's just simply where exactly you want to visible it, you can visible it with this ID. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. That is very easy process. So if I get some time, I also share that things with you from to the back end. You can also manage the side language. So here you can actually add another language option. So from to this position, if you select it as a Hindi, then that will be as Hindi. If you select it as English, then that automatically that will be updated. Okay. So if I get some of the time, I will also cover this part with you. So that is very easy process. So with this easy process, you can also change it. It's our Hindi version. So now I want to select it as a Hindi. You can see without loading that page, that is become Hindi. And if you want to make it as a English version, so now that will be as English version. Okay friend, I hope you like it very much. So in our next video, I want to discuss about, I want to create another page, and also I want to check it in our this details page, in our details page. And here there is a language option. I make it as a Hindi. Yes, you can see everything is now become changed. It's now Hindi. Okay, it's now Hindi. If we go to that English, it's now English. Great. So now friend, in our next video, I want to discuss about our cart list page. So first of all, we have to design our cart list page. That means when you click as a add to cart order or the order now, then that will be redirected to our this order in here, right? And after that, when you click it, then that should be loaded another page. So how can design this page? In our next video, I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.